wanting to get away from 2020.
Everybody wants to get away from 2020.
Keep rambling away from 2020. So
some of the things we did.
John stayed home. He stays home all the time. He's here on the farm 100% of the time. What some of you don't know is our Homestead Evolution YouTube channel is just a part of what we do here. This is what we do here all day, every day, but we also are AJ Farms LLC. When we reflected back over this year,
we were selling quail left and right.
We did one quail video this year, and that was for the Homesteaders of America Grow Your Own Food collab. Yeah. Found that video did very well for us. We like to share the information on how to raise your own food, how to use quail on the homestead. Even though it is a business for us and we do sell hatching eggs all over the United States, we're not ones to get onto social media and push that fact. We let word of mouth drive everything here, and we've actually done pretty well. When COVID started, we exploded.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
The news media and the newspapers keep calling us wanting to know, did we as a small business use the stimulus package and did we suffer, and how much? Not really did we suffer, but let us know how much you suffered and how close you are to closing down. Well, that's not the case for us, and it's not the case for a lot of small farms in our area. Everything's booming.
Yeah.
People are trying to source their own food and grow their own food. We have sold more live birds and had more custom chick orders this year than we ever have.
Yeah.
Now as for me, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Not many people know what I do off farm. And that's because I just don't talk about it that much. However, I'm in healthcare. I work for a group of physicians at our local hospital. I do a lot of trauma and emergency care. With that being said, I've been at the hospital a lot. I've been on the front lines, been doing a lot of surgeries on COVID positive patients. A lot of those are trachs to help them breathe. With that being said, that's as far into that as I'm going to go, but that weighs heavy on my mind a lot. And that's one reason we haven't done a lot of videos this past year. We're going to try to step it up this year, but I do all the editing and I've been gone. Like I said, I've stayed nights at the hospital. I've just been there a lot. So
basically what she's telling me is get it right the first time so she doesn't have to do a lot of editing. So I've been working on that. So you're going to probably, that's my goal for this year, is to
switch over to more of a vlog.
More of a vlog, would try to get it in one shot. So you may see some oopses, or
things may get it raw.
Wrong. Yeah, you may get it raw.
I just may take whatever he puts on there and just upload it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
but that's one of the things we want to do for next year.
So let's go over what did we do this year. We started off with a collaboration with 10 questions for homesteaders.
Yep. Did that.
Answered those 10 questions and
sent out a shout out to 2 other homesteads.
Right. And then we put out a video that was called What Are We Building? It's just a real quick video, and that led into the Susevich chicken tractor build. There was a part 1 and a part 2, and then we did a comparison because after the first one we built, we made a lot of changes. Found out that there was a lot of things wrong.
We found things that, as we were building it, we modified for our purposes, to make it easier so we could make it faster and fix some of the issues that we had seen.
We built 2 of those tractors for Amy over at the Fuel Homestead.
Yep.
And we're going to be putting links to all of these videos, either up in the corner or down in the show notes, one or the other. Then what? We added a protein source.
Added a protein source.
Added a protein source.
Did mealworms.
Added mealworms. Those mealworms are supplemental food for
Our chickens.
the chickens, the quail, and if push comes to shove, you can eat them too. I've never eaten one, but if I had to, I would.
We'll feed you the chickens.
Then there was another collaboration that we were approached by Homestead of America to do, which was
Garden tour.
garden tours. So I think either April or May through September, maybe, we did a monthly garden tour, and it was amazing to see the difference in the garden from month to month. So what was blooming, what was coming in, what we were harvesting. Then came another adventure with bees. We've had bees in the past.
Over at the
Homestead.
We got
Went over there and filmed a vlog with her. A lot of good information. I've known Kaylee for years. We're pretty good friends. She lives not far from us, but she's a very good resource over at the Homestead. If you don't know her, go check her out. Then you built a compost sifter.
Built a compost sifter because I've been turning compost and I want to get it a little finer for the herb gardens and so forth. So I went online, I YouTubed and got some ideas and built my own compost sifter.
Yep. Then what'd you do? Did a video on how to change your wheel bearing.
Wheel bearing, yes.
Had you ever changed a wheel bearing before?
I had to have help.
Who helped you?
She helped me. I had never changed a wheel bearing before, so, which was good because once I learned.
I'll tell the story. I'll tell it.
Okay.
He comes to me with a handful of parts.
Pretty bad.
And you have to remember, I was raised in a body shop. My father owned his own business, was a body fender man and mechanic. So I grew up turning wrenches and fixing stuff. He didn't. He brings me this handful of parts and he says, we need a new wheel for the lawn cart. The wheel fell apart, and hands me all these, and I looked at him and I said, your bearing fell apart, you just need a new bearing. And he just looked at me. So what you didn't see in this video is me talking him through how to tell you to change the bearing. But then guess what? The other wheel bearing fell apart.
And I repaired it.
He did. He sent me a picture. He said, look, the other bearing fell apart and I fixed it. So he's
good.
getting there.
I'm getting there.
He's
Slowly.
getting there.
Slowly, surely, I'm getting there. Learning skills, just like you.
That's right. That's one reason why we put that video out, because he, as I was talking through it, he wanted to do it on video to see, if it worked. Because he says, I want to document this, and we did. So then we got to chickens.
Yes. In which we did
Meat chickens.
We did meat chickens with Rock Ridge Homestead. We did 200 this year.
This year, yeah.
So they got half, we got half.
We went in half with the processing equipment.
Yep. Which
So-
is well worth the money.
Oh yeah,
I'm telling you right now.
yes, that
If you can find it, buy the equipment.
we'll be doing more videos this year with
Yeah.
the equipment and whatnot. We bought a big scalder and the big Featherman Pro Plus
Yeah.
plucker. It runs on 220.
It's worth it.
It's
Trust
worth
me.
it.
So we processed meat birds.
Then shrink bag.
Shrink bag. We weighed shrink bag, and that's where we wanted to do the weighing because we fermented the feed this year,
Right.
and we wanted to see how that worked. Would it produce better quality chicken? Would it cut feed cost? So that's sort of what we were doing this year as well
Right.
with Rock Ridge Homestead. So
Fermented feed is better.
it is better.
Get a bigger bird. We were getting 5.5 to 6.5 pound birds. There was
Yeah.
we had one that was like little under 4 pounds. It's in the 3 pound range, and it looked pathetic
It looked pathetic
compared to the rest.
Right. Actually, we took a picture and put it on the Instagram.
On Instagram, Homestead Evolution on Instagram.
The difference between non-GMO fed fermented feed.
We do use non-GMO grain.
Yeah, we use non-GMO grain. So for one cycle, we fed it all dry.
Right.
You know, and they just
The first group,
and they just drank massive amounts of water, massive amounts. Second round through, we fermented. They didn't drink as much water. They were better looking bird.
right. Then another project with Rockbridge Homestead, which is pigs.
Pigs.
We raised 2 pigs on non-GMO feed over there. One was theirs, one was ours.
Right.
Went half on the feed cost. And then we paid for our pig, went half on the feed cost. And we each paid our own processing fee at the butcher. We got our size whole.
Yeah.
Uncured whole sides, and we cured them, smoked them, cut it up. We did put a little bit, I think too much sugar. There was too much brown sugar. I think maybe next time we'll use the maple syrup too. I may leave the maple syrup out and just use brown sugar. It was a little sweet. If you turn your back on it, you're going to burn it in the pan.
But it's still good. Oh my gosh.
But it's really, really good. And then we did a little video that our daughter sent us some video and asked us to put it up, and we did. And it was our youngest grandson, who is 2.5, making bread. That boy needs bread, and he knows how to knead the bread, and he mixes the bread, and he goes from start to finish with that bread. Of course, he's getting a little help from his mom and dad, but he loves to bake bread, and like I said, he's 2.5, and it's never too young to let your kids start cooking.
That's right.
So then we did a planter box build.
Yes, we did a
Out
planter
of
box
skids.
out of skid material with our grandson. He wanted to build something, so let's build a box. We put sunflower seeds in it.
Yep.
I think his teacher sent him sunflower seeds.
No, his teacher sent him marigolds.
Marigolds. We planted marigolds and we planted sunflowers in there.
Right.
We put it at the end of the garden so he could see it, and he was happy. He got to build.
And
Learn.
the last thing we did. The last thing
this year was chicken math. So
we call them COVID chickens.
they were free.
Let's go to the beginning of the story. When we were building the Sussex tractors for Amy Fuel over the Fuel Homestead, she posted on Instagram some of her black copper Moran eggs. And I texted her and said, hey, there's a chance I get some of those eggs. So when she picked up her tractor, she bred me 6 eggs, and I incubated them. And of course I ended up with 2 hens, 2 roosts. Out of 6 eggs, 2 didn't hatch, and I got 2 and 2. Sold one of the roosters, which left me 1 rooster and 2 hens. It's not a real good ratio. The hens would get beat pretty good, so I knew we were going to need more chickens. Then a friend of mine that I work with asked me if I knew anybody that wanted chickens. When COVID first hit, she was gearing up to be more self-sufficient and raised them. They were just starting to lay eggs real good, and she decided that she didn't need them anymore. Her kids wouldn't help take care of them. They didn't want anything to do with them. In fact, they weren't going to eat the eggs because they came out of a chicken. So, with that being said, we got some, as we call them, COVID chickens. She gave us 10. We kept 6 and took 4 over to Jess over at the Rockbridge Homestead to add to her flock. And these birds were about 20 weeks old. They were just starting to lay. They are beautiful dual-purpose birds. And he hates chicken math. We are going to build a bigger coop at some point this year coming up, and but the coop we had, I could only put so many in there, and I'm not going to overcrowd my birds. So knowing that Rockbridge Homestead wanted some chickens, we decided to go ahead and share the wealth and give them some COVID chickens. So that was our short year on YouTube.
It was. I mean, been busy. It's been productive. A lot of it we didn't film because it's been sort of crazy.
Need to get done quick. However, we do have a lot of stuff that we did film that we just never got to, I never got to edit. We've talked about it, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put those up, whether I had long hair, short hair, red hair, so you'll probably see us all over the place here for a quick bit, because some of that stuff people are wanting to know what happened, because we have a lot of canning videos that I did not get up.
Yeah. Because we were just trying to get things done, and with her working the hours that she worked, and with things going on with the school, with things going on in our state, and opening the state, shutting it down, it was just very chaotic, and we needed to get certain things done by certain times, and so we have the information, and we'll be putting it out.
My New Year's resolution, I hadn't made one yet until right now.
Okay.
When I get home from work, I'm going to try to work at least an hour in the evening on the days that I'm not on call.
Yeah.
Some days that I'm on call, sometimes I leave here about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I don't get
home till the next day.
So yeah, that's why we're behind.
But we have the information, and we're going to put it out there because it's nice information to have. So and I'm hopefully going to try to share more of what we do here. And like I said, it may be raw, uncut, unedited footage, so it may not look as pretty.
But it'll be what it is.
But it'll be how we live. You're seeing how we live and what we do. Hopefully it'll encourage you that you can do this. It's not all perfect, but you can still do it.
You know what I have to do right now?
That's it.
It's almost 3 o'clock.
We gotta fix dinner.
I gotta put lasagna in the oven because we promised dinner to the neighbors.
So we're fixing a bunch of lasagna.
And we're gonna leave it at that and move on to 2021.
Yes, which would be a better year. So,
have a good year, y'all.
have a good one.
Bye.